Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to take a few minutes to finish up or give you one more video of how I do my back testing. It was an interesting pair, to be honest with you. It took a lot longer than I had first intended, but I want to show you what I do. Let me first show you the spreadsheet that I use, that I developed, kind of automate things. Again, we started our testing on August 1st. The pair is the dollar Swiss. We found our 3-month ATR at 65.8, and I used a spread of 4, and it automatically calculates these for us, and you'll see how it populates here in a moment. But from here, from this area over, will be completely automated. You won't have to worry about it, and on the pages below it'll do the calculations, and I'll go over that just briefly, probably put it in another video, but want to make sure that you see the other sheets that are on the bottom. Let's get to inputting some of these so you can see how I input. As you can see, I have all my lines already drawn for my testing, so I'll just go basically, and this is really the part of the process that takes the longest, but it's not too bad. And I have my spreadsheet automatically moving to only the fields that need to be done. And if you notice, I have a line here, so what I'm going to do is, what I normally do is, I'll come back in here and grab the data window, and I'm going to move it over here for the time being, but I'll highlight that line and I'll get all my information right from the data window. 7:30:01 was the signal, and that tells me, it'll give it a color code, tell me what session it is. You'll notice down here at the bottom there are different sessions. That way you can see if a particular pair is more favorable during a certain time, or maybe you can't trade during certain times, so then you want to find the pair that's more successful during your period of trading. I don't know the SSI currently. We'll worry about that in another video, but my signal will be, on this case, since it's a short, my low for the day for that particular bar. So I'll put in here 9074. It will automatically calculate my entry. If my bar right here, the next bar that follows this, drops below 9073, then I'll enter the trade. It automatically calculates my stop, and I'll put that above, and then what I do now is determine the exit. And because I know my stop's going to be right about here, it says 9084. I'm going to click right here to make sure. I see the high of this current bar is 9087, so I would have been stopped out here. But what I normally like to do is I put my pivot down here, and the lowest point, since I'm going for the short, I notice that my low is 90512, so I'll put 90512. And what will happen is it will go over here, and I have 4 different targets, one at 15%, 20%, 25%, and 30%. It'll use the calculations through here to determine if these were wins or losses. It did make my first 2 targets. It did not make my 3rd and 4th, and then it automatically calculates my wins and my losses, and that'll be totaled up later on. But let me go through this. That's the kind of way I do it. Let me show you another one here, and I'll finish off August as well. So that's a long, I'm going to highlight that. And sometimes I'll put a stop line so I can see. This is 3:30 in the morning. It gives it a darker color, and my high of that bar will be 9082. I do round up and round down on the signals. That gives me the most conservative approach to doing this, but sometimes I'll go in here and put a line just like this, and I'll put that as my stop. I'll change it to color so I can see what I'm doing here. And you'll get faster and faster with this as you do it as well. But I'm going to go here. And that way it tells me when, and range bars are a little bit different. You definitely want to put your cursor on them and get the numbers just to make sure it does drop, because sometimes it's a little bit bigger. And so my high point, since this is long, will be most likely here. That one shows 9114, 919. 9110, so that would be most likely. Check the next one, 9112. This one is my high pivot, so I'll put 9114. And again, you'll notice that when you scroll over, it shows you if that met that certain target. And we continue on to do this. We'll keep scrolling. This was a pretty light month, so I don't mind going a little bit longer into this so you can see various ways. Here's another one. And this one's short at 8:48. And that the time does come into play. It's a kind of important thing for one of the calculations I like to see is if it was a good trade during certain time periods. Because most of the time, if I'm working another job, I have to trade at different hours than normal. When I have a day off, it's not a problem. But so my high on this one was 9098. Automatically calculates my stop for me. In this case, I definitely want to put a line in so I can see. And you have two options on this particular trade. You can either put, knowing that you're going to be stopped out, you can either put the digit right after, for instance, this one's 9108. If it dropped below 9107, you know you're already stopped out too. Or you can put the high pivot. Either way, it's not going to meet your target. It's going to be short open. There's a mistake here. Let me see what that is. 9098. Alright, I see what my error was right here. I put this was a short. It's actually a long. Let's go ahead and get a long. And that will change my stop to 9088. And I'll come in here and finish that off there. And that tells me that it went up and then broke down. But what I want to make sure is that this bar is a 9097 entry or a 9098 entry. I want to make sure that this one got at least up to 9099, which it did. So I'm in the trade. My high point in this case was 9104, and I'm going to put 9104 just as my high point since it's a long. And you'll notice that I lost the trade. It was all lost across the board. It automatically calculates the loss as well. Pause this, finish this off, and then show you the results. Alright, I did not finish the results. I want to show you this one trade just for the fact that it does something a little bit different than some of the others. You'll find this happening quite a bit. Didn't want you to get confused. This was taken at 1 in the morning, Central Time. The low was 9064. Oh, I've already got it up there, so let me do this. Okay, so this is the one I'm looking at, 9064. So my entry's going to be 9063. If it hits it, it does. I'm going to put my stop line right here. It's going to be 9074. This is what you'll find with this stop. That happens quite a bit. You don't want to go to the slow pivot. You're going to want to see when it does break into the stop, and then pick the next low pivot. So this is going to be my low. It's not one of these. It's one of these down here. So this one's 9032 and 9032. So 9032. It's 9032 because if you round the 7 up, obviously, I'm being conservative. So that would be that. And that's how you do it when you have a whip. Make sure you put your line in, see when it crosses over, and pick the lowest point on a short. I'm going to finish this off and be right back. Alright, it didn't take me nearly as long as I thought it would be for the August. So remember, it's summer, so it's not quite so busy. But we've got all our entries in for August here, and all the results here. And then you see, as I scroll down, this is September's. I've already done those for you guys just to show you. This is October, and as you notice, it starts getting a little bit busier, a lot more movement. November's the same way. December. But if you guys remember the big move in just a few weeks ago, or a week or so ago for the Swiss, that's in January. January, this is probably the largest sampling I've ever done for backtesting. And I haven't how many trades on the left side, but we go through here and you just see this is when all the news came out. and it just kept big sections of time of movement. So you could be in and out, in and out, in and out, based on your rules, and figure out how you were going to trade that. And I had 275 just in that month possible signals throughout the trading days. Don't have to take everyone. I have different rules that I'd have to follow in order to take a trade. And you'll see I haven't filled in this, and I'll do that on the next video. This is the SSI numbers. I use SSI to determine which side of the trade I want to be on, get the wind blowing at my back. It seems to increase the trade percentage anywhere from 3 to 8% success. It gives you more successful trades. But let me just quickly do this for you just so you can see, and we'll go over this more in the third video. You'll see I've got trades. This is for the London session. It tells us our total trades, profit factor. These are for the target 1. That's the 1.5 times. You'll notice over here is target 4. That's the 3 times. 3 to 1 ratio, 2 to 1 ratio, and it tells you how many trades. And I need to check these numbers to make sure that's correct, because that tells me there may be a possible error because it's supposed to be matching up. It's always good to check. Something's wrong with my target 3. Okay, so I'll go through and it's just pulling from different areas, but it tells you the time of day, after hours, how the success rate was. But that's how I do my back testing, making sure that all my entries are taken care of, and I'll fix this little segment here just to make sure it's correct when we get finished. And I'll be right back with you on part 3, but I'm going to go ahead and post this as part 2. Part 3 will be how I include the SSI, which will be going down in this area. It'll show the differences, and then I'll show you how to put it all together for you. Thank you, guys.